Why did Leanne Williams start the hands-off Dudu Myeni campaign? Why is Outa calling for the resignation of the South African Airways board and its chairperson, Dudu Myeni? How best can leadership at the SAA be described? And is Dudu Myeni the right person to bring financial stability to the national carrier? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. Executives of the South African Airways appeared before Parliament's Standing Committee on Finance today. The SAA failed to finalise its financial statements on time, pending the provision of a going concern guarantee from the government. A 4.7 billion rand guarantee was subsequently granted by Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, Leanne Williams has launched a hands-off Dudu Myeni campaign in a bid to protect her from what she calls white male corruption. For its part, the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, Outa, is saying those involved in fraudulent tender deals at the national carrier should not be left off the hook. We are live. If you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial 089-1104210, Twitter handle at question time 24. My guest today, Leanne Williams. She is the hands-off Dudu Myeni founder and Rutabile Moabi, project manager at the organization Undoing Tax Abuse. Ladies, let me welcome you.
Thank you for having us.
Well, Ms. Williams, let me just start with you. You say that Dudu Myeni was being targeted, but in your allegations or in your claims, you say you want to defend her against white male corruption.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's just talk about that, Perfect.
So I think for me, just to start off, I'm Leanne Williams. I'm a principled woman and I stand for the rights of women. In this country, especially if you are not captured by the DA, then you are not qualified to do what you are supposed to do. Dudu has ensured that she's brought down losses that SAA's experienced, yet she is still being asked, what does her credentials bring to SAA? She has inherited a sick, ailing company. It was not her doing. We need to go back and see where this corruption started. It did not start with a black female.
Well, you then say that you've got credible information within the SAA as to why was she being targeted. Why?
So if we go way back, and we actually start with the white males, let's start with Coleman, who sold off the fleet, ultimately crippling the balance sheet to actually show that the income statement looks good. Now, effectively, what is done there? The company is insolvent. She has taken over that company to ensure that she actually brings it to a sustainable profit level. Now, given the chance, she will do that. I stand here because if you look at the public sector and if you look at the private sector, if you look at SAA stats, we have regressed in terms of women in leadership because we find there's always a plot against. Let's take Tuli. When Tuli Madonsela was put in, before she was captured as the public protector, the DA was against her. But until she was captured, now the DA is singing her song. Unfortunately, we are many black women in the industry who actually know what we are doing.
Well, you make some very serious claims here. You know, you referred to something you say, Dudu Myeni uncovered white male corruption at its best, including the corrupt sale of tickets by an international scam based in Brazil that is costing South African Airways 100 million rand a month.
Yes, let's go back to Andre Viljoen. Andre Viljoen was the CEO of SAA. There was 18 charges linked to Andre Viljoen. He was given a 200 million rand handshake. Where was Outa? Where was the DA outcry at that point? Because it was white males that were sitting there and there was no outcry. Now with a black woman who is clearly making visible changes, there's an outcry. Let's talk about the 100 million. That is happening in Brazil. There were ticket sales. When she investigated as to the flights are full, but yet there's no proceeds coming from the Brazil office, she then looked and saw that the tickets are being sold, the flights are being utilized, and yet there's no money coming in. The money is not coming into the proceeds of the sale of the tickets, is not coming into the offices of the SAA. It's actually going to white males, South African white males.
Well, Outa, why are you trying to get rid of somebody who's fighting corruption, according to her?
Well, that is quite relative. We all have different views, but as Outa, we stand firmly by what we say in as far as making sure that policies and procedures are being adhered to.
Yes.
In Dudu Myeni's tenure as chairperson, we have seen constant demonstration of the non-adherence and the non-compliance to the relevant policies and procedures that apply in as far as the operations at SAA are concerned. My learned colleague here mentioned issues of profits. I don't know what profits she is really talking about, because at the moment we're still waiting for the financial statements as at 2013, 2014 and 2015-2016 financial year ends to be produced. Just this afternoon there was a sitting in Parliament, and according to what we had anticipated, those were supposed to be released by the 15th of September already. It's the 20th and we don't have anything concrete. Now, as a taxpayer,
yes,
surely one wakes up every morning, you go to work, you receive your pay slip at the end of the month, there's a gross and there's a tax portion.
yes.
And as far as the tax portion is concerned, as a taxpayer, as somebody who wakes up at a particular time and works, I would like to know that that tax portion is being utilized correctly in as far as the development of the resources of the state are concerned. And in this instance, there has been regular demonstration of such in as far as there not being compliance to the King report, there not being compliance to the PFMA, there being non-compliance to the Companies Act. Also, in as far as being direct with regards to Dudu Myeni, we specifically have an issue as far as the distinction with regards to being a non-exec and being exec. King specifically states that there needs to be a distinction between the two.
Okay.
And in that instance, there has been quite a protracted demonstration in as far as that not being adhered to.
Okay. Let's take Patrick. Patrick, you're in Benoni. Welcome.
How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call, Pat.
Good man.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
I just want to say thumbs up to that lady that is there in studio, Leanne.
Okay.
You know what, my sister, now I've been listening to you when you talk. What you're talking sense. And most of the time when you talk, it shows that you know exactly what you're talking about. It's time to give black ladies a chance to lead. We mustn't criticize them. Instead, we must come up with a solution, not to blame them. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. I'm going to pose this question again. Why are you attacking a black woman?
I'm a black woman, and one of the issues that we've come across, it's really not a race thing. It's a policy thing. It's adhering to the law.
Could it be gender?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not. I mean, in as far as we have an issue in as far as credible, ethical leadership is concerned, whether it is being done by male or female, it would have been pursued in the same way.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we have national interest here.
Okay.
Our national carrier is an issue of national interest.
Let me bring in Leanne.
So I think my fellow visitor sitting here, she intertwines between a they and then only Dudu. So I think when it's a scapegoat that needs to be used, then it's Dudu. Yet we need to talk about, she talks about ethics or being ethical and corruption. Let's talk about Mr. Visa. Mr. Visa, who is a shareholder of a major shareholder of Shoprite Checkers. He was also on the board of Mango, who appointed firstly Nico Bezuidenhout, who worked in his prior companies, which later turned out that Nico Bezuidenhout falsified his qualifications. That's point one. There was also no tender processes followed with the allocation or award of the selling of tickets at Shoprite Checkers. Now you tell me, is this not conflict of interest, and should this not be in the interest of Outa to actually investigate corruption? But they talk about Dudu Myeni, where they actually cannot illustrate where there was corrupt activities from Dudu's side.
Jack, you are in Gauteng.
Hi, Paul. Thank you for having me. Long time.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes.
I just want to ask Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Was Dudu involved in catering for SAA?
Wow, I don't know if. Well, let's hear from her. You're still on the line,
Yeah.
right? Jack, you're still there? Whoa, we seem
Yes.
to. Oh, Jack, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. I want you to stay on the line so that we get the answer.
So Jack,
Okay.
that question I can't answer because I actually do not know Dudu personally. The information I have is research that I've done. I've analyzed some of the reports. So this is not, I cannot give you Dudu's background in terms of what she's done prior to her chairpersonship at SAA.
Let's get Jack's follow-up question.
Okay. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. If Miss Williams knows so much, Dudu, and she is so involved with her, surely she must know, unless she's not comfortable to talk about it. But again, my question is, was Dudu involved in huge catering contract to SAA?
Okay, Jack.
That's basically the question.
Okay.
Can I go out of the line now?
Jack, I want you to give us the answer, because she says she doesn't know Dudu personally and therefore she's unable to give us some of the information. What is the answer to the question?
I prefer, Paul, just to leave it as it is for now. It's not gossiping or rumors, or I put my, just to criticize this lady, Dudu.
Okay.
But just a question.
It's question time after all. Thanks, Jack.
So I think just very important, I would have stood up for any woman. If this was Maria Ramos, I would have done exactly the same, because I stand principled that we need to stand as women, we need to stand together. For far too long, women have been oppressed in South Africa. If we look at South Africa's statistics, we've regressed from 27% women in leadership positions. We've gone back to 27%. Worldwide, it is far more than that. If you look at Russia, Russia's women in leadership are sitting at 45%. When are we going to acknowledge that women can lead this country, women can be in top senior jobs, and that without sleeping with a male to get there?
But are you saying we must apply different rules when we deal with women leaders?
Never, I never said that. What I am saying is women are capable. If a woman can bring up strong males in households, and sometimes single households, they can run a country.
So
they can run an organization, and they can be very good at what they are doing.
Masheri, you are in Pretoria.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, how are you this afternoon?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
All right, Mpo.
Yes.
Mpo, the issue is not who's leading our SOEs. The issue, it doesn't matter whether it's a woman or it's a man. The thing is, if corruption was perpetuated in the past during the apartheid era, we can't be continuing saying that because whoever was leading the SAA benefited from corruption, then we continue with that. That can't take our country forward. Because Williams, it's not for the first time I saw her on N7. Also, she perpetuating the issue that the previous people who have been leading the they've stolen a lot of money. Of course, we know about that, but what have we done as a side? We don't want that to continue. What we're saying is we can't continue with SAA losing a lot of money where no one is taking responsibility. We need to start seeing people being responsible, being held accountable. Whether it's a woman or a man, we need good leadership. If leadership is not doing what is benefiting the people of South Africa, people must vacate the office and allow people who can take us forward as a country where every South African will benefit, not the few selected people that are benefiting from the resources of this country and also from this SOMS, where every year we keep on seeing these entities being bailed out, whereas people are not being accounted for that, are not accounting for that. They are not being punished for that. They continue leading this SOS, whereas we are not benefiting as South Africans. Where are we getting this money to continue bailing this SOS for forever?
Okay, Musher, thank you.
So I think, thank you for that. I definitely don't have ANC tendencies where I actually refer back to apartheid days. This goes back as far as 2009, 2010, 2013. If we actually go back, where was Outa, where was the DA when those chairpersons ensured that these losses are occurring? And some of those losses were to not following tender processes. Some of it occurred because people were enriching themselves. Where were they?
Indeed.
Well, and as far as the point that you have made, you would need to substantiate that to put it as fact. And at the moment, as Outa, as apolitical, not affiliating to any political party, a political organization, we have facts at hand. I can talk about the likes of, since you were talking women empowerment, I can talk about the likes of former CEO, interim CEO, Tuli Mshe, who was also axed at SAA by the very Dudu Myeni that we're talking about. I could talk about the likes of Cynthia Stimple in as far as the BNP Capital issue is concerned, for challenging the non-compliance with policy. So if we're going to make statements such as these and say that women are being attacked, can we also just try and bring it closer to what happens within SAA in as far as a so-called attack by a black woman in leadership on another black woman in leadership?
Okay, let's take it to Meleng in Pretoria. Meleng, welcome.
Bo, thank you very much. Bo, the lady Leanne, she's having the same argument as Andile Mkutama and Jimmy Manyi and the others. White males were doing what is wrong in South Africa. White people are doing what is wrong in South Africa. So if a black person is doing what is wrong, we must not talk. Let's say she's right with all these allegations. Then what? We need to move forward, We need to move forward. Let's say she's right. Then we must just let Dudu Myeni not follow the policies of SAA. When the show started, you talk about finances. Yes. The business of finances is profit. To understand the point. And we deal with financial years.
Okay.
Is Dudu Myeni in those financial years, did she do what is supposed to be done? We cannot continue this road of white males used to do what is wrong, so it is okay for black people to do what is wrong. Then we are lost as a country. Thank you very much.
Meleng, thanks very much for the call.
So I think I have a question for Outa in terms of, I made a specific comment in terms of Mr. Visa being the chairperson of Mango and also being a major shareholder in Shoprite Checkers, and no tender process was followed in terms of the awarding of the ticket sales
and
to.
Outa says prove it.
But this is I think this is then the clear, because in some instances Outa takes things that needs to be investigated, but now Outa is saying prove it. So which means we brought it on. And I think, thank you for that. I think we will take it to the public protector, that it actually gets investigated, because I think the point that I stand for is we need to illustrate both sides. The media is painting Dudu as the problem. She is not the board alone. There are many factors that needs to be taken into account, and as long as we can sensationalize a black incompetent woman, then that is what the media will take. It is time that the media understands there are two sides to a story.
Would you say that SAA is stable? under Dudu Myeni?
No, what I can say to you, I think Dudu is the right person. What she has done, we're talking about, I never said there's profits because there's no profits, there's losses. But what she's done, she's halved the profits from 2015 to 2016, which is telling me there is a path, there is a trend which is downward, which could lead it to sustainable profitability.
But what do we base that on? That's another question. What do we base that on? At the end of the day, the non-executive board members have a responsibility to the shareholder and to ourselves as taxpayers to present financial statements at the required time. The Companies Act specifically states that. At the moment, we're sitting with an airline that hasn't presented financials in the past 2 years. What is going on? That the detail is in the numbers at the end of the day, and we need to prove that.
Let's take Muraki.
We don't have that at the moment.
You are in Rustenburg, Muraki?
Yes, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
It's just a comment that I need to make here.
Go ahead, Muraki.
I don't think two wrongs make a right. We cannot agree to somebody who says in the past this and that has happened. Now, because a black woman is now in power, we're not supposed to correct the wrongs. It cannot be correct. Two wrongs will never make a right. Dudu, if she couldn't submit the financial reports that was supposed to be submitted. Now, the issue of gender cannot be of importance in this case.
Okay.
So I'm trying to say two wrongs will never make a right.
Okay.
Dudu did not do the right thing.
Okay.
As is expected of her.
Okay, thanks very much, Muraki. Well, two wrongs do not make a right?
Yes. I think you need to ask yourself the questions. You were talking about the financials not being released in time. So there was a imposition, a question asked in terms of, or authorization asked in terms of the delay, because of the delay of the guarantees. I think you need to dig deeper in terms of why things are not happening as it's supposed to happen. And hence I said, if we look at bringing forward the sides, not just the one side where it's only a bad reflection on Dudu, but also understanding why it didn't come through. Let's ask the question, where is Pravin Gordhan's involvement in this, in terms of the release of the guarantee? There was a definite holdback in terms of the financial reports because the guarantees wasn't released.
I hope you're aware that without the guarantee, the state of affairs, and as far as the financial position is concerned, will reflect a great form of technical insolvency. So, for the guarantee to be released, there will be some form of solvency. The point I am trying to make is that, to a point, releasing a guarantee does save SAA. Without a guarantee, SAA is technically insolvent. In a way, it reflects on the performance of the entity itself. At the end of the day, the entity is not able to perform without a guarantee. Why can't we find ourselves at a point where the entity functions without the need for that rescue? That's the question I'm going to pose to you now.
So, and I think you need to listen when I talk. I've made the point, when the CEO sold off the fleet.
Can we be specific? Which
so the
CEO?
Planes. So when Viljoen sold off the planes, which crippled the balance sheet and actually made the income statement look good. The point is that the actual insolvency started there. It did not start with Dudu's time. And that is what I'm trying to say. So if you listen to the statement, when that happened, technically, they were insolvent.
At the end of the day, Dudu has a mandate to ensure that she restores the entity as board chair and with the rest of the board.
She has a mandate.
She has a mandate to do that via the shareholders' compact. And the moment she fails to do so, like some of her predecessors, she has to go. And in as far as exposing issues within SAA that she's not adhered to policy.
So as Outa, are you, for instance, I mean, she has raised this issue of some disparities here. Are you going to follow up?
Oh, certainly. We have, amongst the latest ones that we followed up is the BNP Capital issue, where issues of procurement were not adhered to. and the case is currently running, so we're definitely following up as Outa.
So I just want to make a correction. It was actually Coleman who sold off. Viljoen actually had the 15 billion loss, where he hedged funds and it actually made a loss. Again, Outa and the DA was not there to actually say, what have you done wrong? And yet he left with a 200 million rand check.
By the way, you are a Patriotic Alliance
National chairperson.
So you're not even ANC?
No, I'm not ANC.
Okay. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
That was question time. From me and the rest of the crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Have a hot.